How are you all doing? It's indeed my pleasure this morning to kick off a press conference, which is near and dear to my heart, joined by my fellow members of the General Assembly. As you all know, this is my background is economic development, workforce development, and so I'm really excited about this. I want to thank you all for coming, and what we're going to do is talk about why the Democrats in the House and the Senate are focused on creating new jobs for small business reform, and we are proud and we think we can come out in this session with some bills that will impact that in a positive nature. So I want to always tell you, most of you already know this, that remember that our number one goal in our 60-day legislation that we're in right now is to help improve the lives of all Virginians. And we're here to help get better jobs. We're here to help small businesses get more skilled workers. And it's our members that have presented legislative bills that you'll hear about. We're going to highlight a few bills later that you'll hear, and I don't want to steal any of their thunder, to talk about the ways that we can help execute and create new jobs and create the skills for employees, not only today, but for tomorrow. And more importantly, focus on, and I won't say this too many times today, small business owners of women and people of color, and making their lives and their opportunities more competitive. Because that's what we are about, that's what we will be about going forward. There are thousands of high-paying jobs that are left open in Virginia, where people need jobs, and we need to enact policies that promote a culture that places more value on the work that's generally on vocational training. And I'm excited to see our new secretary. Raise your hand. This is the person who's going to help move us forward, and we're happy to have her here. So I'm not going to take up a lot of your time because I don't want to steal any of the thunder of my great folks behind me. So I just want to tell you that I think that we're going to highlight 5 bills this morning, and my sheet from my boss over there. We're going to start out with a wonderful bill from Delegate Watts. Then we're going to follow with a wonderful bill by Delegate Philcorn. I want to make sure they're all here. And then we're going to follow with my good friend Bulva, and then Delegate Ward, and Delegate Plum, and then I'll come back up with some closing comments. But I want to thank you all for coming out on this wintry day. But again, this is a great opportunity for us as Democrats to understand that we are here to grow and foster small business development. And I'll have some closing comments. I tell you what, can I deviate?
Yes.
For those new delegates, will you just briefly introduce yourselves?
Sure. I am Elizabeth Guzman. I represent the 31st District of the House of Delegates, which includes parts of Prince William and Fauquier counties.
Hi, I'm Hala Ayala. I represent the 51st District, which includes parts of Lake Ridge, Manassas, and Gale City.
Okay. Delegate Watts, you're up.
Go. Of course, I have a chart. A comprehensive study that was completed about 2 years ago revealed that 50 to 65% of the over 1.5 million job vacancies in Virginia over the next decade will require less than a bachelor's degree but more than a high school diploma. Or as this chart puts it, 7 post-high school certifications or associate degrees to just 1 requiring a graduate degree and only 2 a bachelor's. In his address to the General Assembly, Governor Northam pledged his full commitment to expanding the work of the McAuliffe administration to meet this challenge. He announced his G3 program, short for Get Skilled, Get a Job, and Give Back. An exciting focus, especially for the daughter of a marine engineer who grew up in the house that he built. I've lived and I truly value the deep pride in hands-on technical work. My bill, HB 306, focuses on an important path to get skilled. The Virginia Registered Apprenticeship Program. This program currently has more than 13,000 apprentice employees throughout the Commonwealth, with 2,000 Virginia employer sponsors, from small businesses to larger manufacturers. The chart is Exhibit A of why such apprenticeship programs are poised to significantly expand and are high on our House Caucus business agenda. This demand for skilled workers is not just driven by new technologies such as cybersecurity, but as I've heard repeatedly directly from employers, we must replace our skilled but aging workforce. As one employer put it, we have a lot of 50-somethings, a few 30-somethings, and very few 20-somethings in my place of business. That age gap must be filled to maintain a quality workforce. Quality for the employer who is able to tailor training using the resources of the Department of Labor and Industry and often working with our community colleges, tailor training to ensure specific work standards, safety, and cost control. And quality for the worker who is fully employed and paid during a typically 4-year apprenticeship. I want to underscore, fully employed and paid during that 4-year apprenticeship in a workplace that values his or her long-term loyalty and career development. The specific contribution that HB 306 makes to this addresses the second G of the governor's focus, get a job, by authoring state and local public agencies to give a preference in awarding competitive bid contracts to companies and businesses who have a registered apprenticeship program. HB 306 is a win-win incentive to offer more jobs as an inducement to get more employers engaged in the registered apprenticeship program. It's also adding substance to the promise that if you get skilled as a worker, you will get a job. In closing, I want to salute the employers and unions who are increasingly committed to establishing apprenticeships. They are invaluable partners to building a quality workforce. A workforce who has the skills to earn professional salaries and live the American dream of upward mobility in those fields that Virginia economy needs and in fields that will strengthen businesses and industries throughout the Commonwealth and meaningfully contribute to their realizing their full potential.
Good morning. It's great to see all of you here today. My name is Eileen Fillercorn, and I represent the 41st District. The district's all within Fairfax County. Let me start by saying that I truly commend Governor McCullough for his efforts to bring jobs to the Commonwealth of Virginia, and I'm confident that Governor Northam will continue this trend. It is incumbent upon all of us to join Governor Northam to work together to ensure that these jobs are filled with highly qualified Virginians. We need to work together to ensure this. The best way we can do this, as I see it, is through workforce development. My bill, HJ 17, is just the beginning of finding out how we can unlock our Commonwealth's biggest potential, which truly are our students. If passed, HJ 17 would request the Standards of Learning Innovation Committee to study experiential learning and workforce development opportunities for our high school students in these high-demand fields. This resolution will lay the groundwork for future legislation to better prepare our students for these high-paying jobs of the future. What makes this legislation unique is that it has the backing of the VEA, Virginia Education Association, it has the backing of several Virginia Chambers of Commerce, including the Northern Virginia Chambers of Commerce, Northern Virginia Chamber of Partnership, Hampton Roads Chamber of Commerce, the Roanoke Chamber, and many others. Educators and businesses have been able to come together through this resolution to make sure that Virginia's future is a prosperous one, because as we Democrats truly believe that if we work together, we can all succeed.
very much. I'm David Bulova. I represent the 37th District in the Virginia House of Delegates. That's the city of Fairfax and parts of Fairfax County. And it's wonderful to be here with you all today, and it's always hard to follow Delegate Watts. I do not have a chart. I love her charts. They're very, very helpful. It's been mentioned by my colleagues, and I know will be highlighted in the next couple of presentations. A strong economy here in Virginia really does rely on a strong workforce. That's true for any size business, but it's particularly true for our small businesses. As you've heard today in Virginia, we literally have thousands of jobs that are left open because we don't have a workforce with the right kind of skills. And that workforce shortfall is particularly acute when it comes to your technical, your manufacturing, and your skilled construction trades. We desperately need engineers, we need those architects, but the simple fact is that we need to have those welders, we need those electricians, and we need skilled tradespeople to actually bring those things to life. These are good paying jobs. They don't require a four-year college education, but they do require a solid vocational and technical education. And I think equally important, if not more so, they require our education system to link those students to available apprenticeships and industry certifications so that they can be successful in the workforce. This session, I'm very pleased to be carrying House Bill 632. And what this bill does is address two challenges. The first is that many students out there don't even consider the possibility of a career in technical and skilled trades. And so what House Bill 632 does is directs the Board of Education to develop curricula in career investigation so that our students, particularly in middle school, have the clear understanding of what all their options are, whether they want to go on for a four-year education or whether they want to go in and get a certification. But equally important, what House Bill 632 does is direct the board to develop career investigation resource materials for our schools to ensure that if you have a student who expresses an interest in a career in technical education, that they're able to bridge that forward and actually get that information so that they can further explore those options. We have a wonderful opportunity to be able to give a great gift to our students, and that really is to open their eyes to all the different possibilities out there that await in Virginia's economy. And even better, this is a nonpartisan issue. This is something that if you look at the platforms of our unions, our businesses, our contractors, our manufacturing sectors, this is high on their priority list. I'm looking forward to working with my colleagues to make this a reality and to continuing to build a strong workforce for a 21st century.
Good morning. My name is Delegate Jawan Ward. I represent the 92nd House District, which is the majority of the city of Hamilton. The bill that I want to talk to you about is so exciting because unlike some legislation that we bring before you, it is already proven to have been successful. So this bill, House Bill 1407, called Advancing Equity for Small, Women, and Minority-Owned Businesses, will place into code the provisions that have been set out in an executive order that was signed by our former governor, Terry McAuliffe. And for the first time in Virginia's history, the egregious disparity in state procurement contracting for minority and women-owned business enterprises was addressed. This disparity was documented in two independent studies by the General Assembly back in 2004 and again in 2010. Now, prior to the issuance of this order in 2014, minority and women-owned businesses only received 1.5% for, or only $75 million in procurement contracts statewide, and that is out of $5 billion issued by the state to private sector. Now, since the issuance of this order back in 2014, minority and women-owned businesses have received, and get this, $1.2 billion in state procurement. That's up from $75 million. Now, while this doesn't truly eradicate the disparity in the state's procurement contracting system, it is a step in the right direction. Since this order was signed, it creates a small business called small business, a class of small business called micro businesses, and they have from 0 to 25 employees who have been certified by the Virginia Department of Small Businesses and Diversity and Supplier Diversity, and it expands set-asides established by previous administration since back in 1978 for small businesses to ensure that they have access to the state's procurement contracting system. And in the 1980s, these micro businesses generated the majority of new job growth in the United States, and they continued to do so during the economic downturn back in the 1990s. Not only did they absorb all of the jobs that big businesses cut, but they added another 225,000 workers. We believe that the provisions that's contained in the executive order should be incorporated into law, because we cannot miss this opportunity, and it has already been proven to be successful. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Ken Plum. I don't have a chart today, but I'm holding myself as Exhibit A. What I mean by that is that while you may know me as a legislator, I want to tell you also for 30 years I was a professional educator, and much of my work was around workforce training. In fact, my experience goes back so far to the improper term we would use now. We wouldn't call it manpower training then, but thank heavens we now diversify and we call it the workforce training, as it appropriately should be the case. And I'm so pleased that what Governor Northam is doing is putting an emphasis on workforce training. I see Brenda in the background with the Virginia Vocational and Career Technical Education Program. The idea of introducing children to career opportunities, such as expressed by Delegate Bulova, is a sound one. It gets folks thinking ahead of time about what it is they might want to pursue as a career, and then those careers can be pursued. While I was with a public school system, the fact of the matter is we used our public school facilities in the evening to provide extensive training in apprenticeship fields, as well as career and trade and professional careers. Those opportunities we need to take advantage of in terms of growth of our economy. I also am pleased with the fact that we are recognizing in our public school curriculum the necessity of giving exploration opportunities as well as new career programs and so on that are being introduced. Now it turns out that the bill that I'm talking about today takes a slightly different approach to suggest that what we need to do is to make sure that our small businesses are successful. While we're looking for people being employed, some people will be employed in businesses of their own. And what we want to have is an understanding of ensuring that they're successful. While they will do well in the marketplace, we need to also ensure that they do well when they do business with the government. And as a consequence, my bill would say that we would have a prompt payment plan, and the prompt payment plan would build on the current existing legislation to say that we would make payments in 15 days of receipt of an invoice. Now, in days gone by, there are many stories about how difficult it was to do business with the government because you didn't get paid. Those were in the green eye shade and sharp pencil days where it took a while to get that stuff processed. But let's face it, today, you can place an order today, you get it from Amazon this afternoon, and your payment will have been processed before you even get the goods. If they can do that in the private sector, we can do it in the public sector as well. It says in this legislation that we would ensure that payment occurs in small business within 15 days from receipt of an invoice. So that, we hope, will help build an economy, and we will build on the kind of workforce that we're talking about from generally. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken, and thank you to my other colleagues. You've heard just a snippet of what Democrats are talking about helping small and minority businesses today. I encourage you, excuse me, I'm still suffering from post-inaugural things with my voice, but we want to just make sure that you understand and you would reach out to all of our colleagues in the House and in the Senate of ways that we've introduced bills to help small businesses grow. Because clearly this is one of our top priorities. While we have looked at several of our 5 bills today of my colleagues, we have several other pieces of legislation. Read them, give us input, because as those of you who know me, we value your input. One bill that I'd like to highlight since he's here is Delegate Lopez has a bill, House Bill 1300, which talk to us and say, okay, is this what will this make your world better? Because clearly, we are here to help Virginians ease their economic insecurities so that they can sleep better and their kids can drink harder. And we're excited to share these initiatives with you all today because we're hopeful that all the members in the body of the House and the Senate will support these nonpartisan initiatives. Because everybody runs, the first thing we say when we run is we want to create more jobs. And we know that small businesses are the engine that drives our economy. So we want to do that. As Democrats, we want to lead that charge, and we want to reinforce the fact that we are here to listen and to help your initiative. So with that, I finished 5 minutes early. We said we'd be out here by 9. I said 5, 9. In terms of, I don't know if there are any questions. I know all of our members have to leave to go to meetings as I do, but.
Any questions from the press here today? All right, anybody, Craig Harper?
I mean, you introduced workforce development initiatives in the past. How does the changing dynamic affect something like this that might not be seen as controversial as something that the Republicans as guns or abortion or those kind of things?
I think that right now we are in an environment, and I will invite my other colleagues to talk, but from my perspective, I think the #1 priority we have is workforce development. You'll see us go through a change. We have a change agent in the back of the room who will help us with the administration. When we talk to our friends across the aisle, everyone talks about it. You have VEDP, the Virginia Economic Development Partnership. We had a presentation to the Appropriations Committee yesterday that talked about the one thing that we need to do is consolidate and work on talent development. Because right now Virginia is in a process that most people don't realize. A lot of our young people leave the state to go to jobs. So that's a talent drain. So if we're going to grow the economy, if we're going to be the #1 business, the #1 state to do business, we need to solve or address our talent development. So I think it's a nonpartisan issue, and I think you'll see not only legislation, but you'll see budget amendments passed for it. That is my hope and goal. Anybody else want to comment on that? Okay.